Feeling lucky? Today I'm going to show you how to make this unique St. Patrick's Day Clover art. Hey everyone, if you're new here, my name is Katie Falinger. I'm a broadcaster by day and a DIY junkie all the other time. And on this channel, I show you all sorts of project tutorials and ideas to make your home your happiest place. And if you're into that, I hope you'll consider subscribing. So in my recent Valentine's Day decor video, which I will link to up here in the cards, I mentioned that I don't typically decorate for Valentine's Day because it can get a little tacky as far as decor goes for my personal tastes, and I kind of feel the same way about St. Patrick's Day. But I wanted to challenge myself this year to design a project that I could display in my home that would fit in with the rest of the house. And this is what I came up with. A dash of green, a 4-leaf clover, and of course, some lucky coins. And if you want to learn how to make this project, keep watching. Okay, let's list the products we'll need first. An 8x10 picture frame, acrylic paint in a hunter green color, a 1-inch sponge brush, paper plate, a piece of burlap that's a few inches bigger than your picture frame, a sheet of medium thick cardboard cut just shy of the size of the frame, a glue gun, some mounting tape, and about 50 pennies. I'm also using my Cricut Maker machine to design the 4-leaf clover, along with a 12x12 sheet of bronze metallic leather, a standard grip cutting mat, and I'll also need a special deep cut blade. Okay, I'm going to start by painting my frame. So put a big dollop of green paint on the paper plate, dip your sponge brush in, and just start painting the frame. Since the frame is darker than the color I'm painting it, I didn't worry too much if the original black showed through, especially on that first coat. I'm doing a second coat to make it more opaque, but I actually like how some of the original color is peeking through. It makes it look a little more weathered. Okay, so 2 coats of paint down, and it's time to prep the mat of the frame. So you'll need your burlap fabric and your cardboard. I just cut out a piece from a shipping box. So just lay the fabric flat and place your cardboard right on top. So this fabric is really just a piece of scrap fabric I had laying around, so I do need to cut it down to size, and I'm just going to freehand this. With the cardboard still on top, I'll make a few snips. I basically want to have just enough fabric to cover the tape I'm about to put down. So let's get to that step now. Grab your mounting tape. This stuff is going to hold, man, and that's what I want. I know the fabric is virtually weightless, but I'm eventually going to be adding the weight of roughly 50 pennies, so I need this to have a really strong bond. Okay, we're gonna trim a piece of this super strong tape to the length of each of the long sides of our cardboard, and then carefully place each piece right at the edges. Then you just peel the backing off each line of tape, making sure that your cardboard is in the center of your fabric, and then attach the burlap by folding it over onto the tape. Then just firmly smooth it out with your fingers. And do the opposite side next. Okay, moving on to the shorter edges of the cardboard. It gets a little tricky with these sides since you'll have overlapping fabric if we leave it as it is. So I'm going to trim out a little square section from each corner of the burlap. That way it won't be bulky when I fold it over. And now I'll trim 2 shorter pieces of tape to fit that empty space, and then tape down these ends. Now, I have some extra fabric that's sort of hanging off the edge here, so I'm going to trim that down. Basically, I just want to avoid extra bulk wherever I can since I've got to eventually stuff this whole thing into a picture frame. So along those lines, I'll also snip off the excess again right at that corner and secure it off with a dab of hot glue, and do that all the way around. So the mat is ready, and it's time to create our 4-leaf clover. So let's head to the computer. I'm using the Design Space program for Cricut. Now I have my blank canvas open here, and I'm going to click on the left-hand side of the screen on the Images tab. That will open up the whole library of images, but I'll narrow it down by typing in the word Clover in the search box. So let's look around and find an image that will work, remembering that I'll be able to size this however I choose. I like this one, so I'll hit Insert Image at the bottom and add that to my canvas. Now I need to size the image so it will print with the dimensions I need to fit the picture frame. I have my rulers on both the X and Y axis here to help me adjust the size, but I already know, based on the size of my picture frame, that I want the width no wider than 5.5 inches so that it fits nicely in the frame with enough space on each side. So rather than dragging the image to scale, I can actually just type in the width dimensions that I want up in this box at the top. And you see the little lock is closed, so that will automatically scale the height to maintain the size ratio. And that's all the editing I need to do. So I'll click Make It in the upper right-hand corner, and it'll ask me for my material size, which is 12 by 12, so it's actually already defaulted to that. And now I need to set my material. So since metallic leather isn't listed, I'll click on Browse All Materials at the top here, and then search leather to find my specific material. And there it is, metallic leather. I'll check that off and click Done. Now, a couple of things. Number one, it wants me to move my star wheels all the way to the right. And I also need to load the deep point blade in clamp B. So let's switch out our blade first. I'll open up clamp B and just trade out my regular knife blade for this black deeper cut blade. All you do is set it in there and clamp it off. This is a heavier duty blade for a thick material like leather. And then I'll slide these 4 small white wheels, the star wheels, all the way to the right. Next, I'll get my leather ready to cut. So I'll line up the material on my standard grip mat and press it down firmly. Then I'll feed it into the Cricut machine, and when it's ready, the little arrow button will blink. I just push that and off it'll go. You'll see the progress on the computer screen as the cut's being made, and once it's done, it'll tell you to unload the mat, which you'll do by just hitting that little arrow button again. And this is what comes out, a perfectly sliced out clover shape. So I'll pop that out and move back to my burlap mat. Okay, first we'll glue the clover to the burlap. I want a good bit of glue on my clover because again, this needs to hold about 50 pennies securely, so be liberal and just center it how you want it and press it down firmly onto the burlap. So I have a few loose ends and I'm going to wedge a little extra glue under those pieces to make sure it's totally secure. And it's time to attach our pennies. So grab your glue gun again and you'll put a dollop on the tails side of the penny and place it on the clover. Now we're going into this already knowing that we won't be able to cover every square inch of the clover with a copper penny. We're going to cover as much as we can, and I'll layer a few more on top to fill in some of those gaps. So with that said, I'm also picking the dullest shades of copper among my pennies to layer on the bottom. I really want the shiniest, newest looking coins front and center at the top. This is basically 3D art, and having the shiniest pennies at the front like that will make that element pop even more. Okay, last step. We'll fit this into the frame and secure it with the clasps just like you would a regular picture. And just like that, we've got a super classy piece of art to put on display. I love the gold against the burlap. It's just sparkly and just rustic enough. Good stuff. So guys, thank you as always for watching. If you liked this tutorial, I would really appreciate if you gave a thumbs up to the video. And also a heads up, I know we used a store-bought frame for this tutorial, but in the weeks ahead, I will be uploading a video showing you how to create your own frame from scratch. We are getting down to basics here, guys. So if you're interested in that, please hit subscribe and also ring the bell. That way you'll get notified when that and other new videos go up on the channel. But I do post every single Thursday. And in between uploads, I would love to get to know you better. So you can find me on all the social platforms, and I've linked those pages below. So guys, again, as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next Thursday.